Hello everyone and welcome back to Avowed. In the last session we've been exploring the Eothasian Temple. I think that's what it's called, right? The Eothasian Temple. And we just had a long old conversation with the Oracle here. A very long conversation, probably the longest one in the game, and it was very interesting. Lots of interesting stuff in there. And now we are continuing to head on to search for the Splinter to then put in this machine thingy and potentially turn it on. I'm not sure if he's going to ask us to do that or if we'll just do it or what, but yeah, interesting stuff coming up today. Not sure how much further there is to go in this temple, but we will soon see.
Bridge has collapsed up ahead.
I see that.
My gut says that's the way to the relic.
Of course. Naturally. Nothing could be easy.
This reminds me of the strangle route. But how is anything this big growing all the way down here?
We'll have to swim
It's
through
a
the
kind of magic. Okie dokie. Cannonball! Okay, there is another way to go that way, but before we do that, what's up here? Anything much to see? Okay, there's an explodey wall. Huh. I'm getting damage numbers off of it, but I don't think that's doing anything. I think that needs an electric thing, right? What am I doing? Explodey wall. Explodey wall, explodey wall. Oh, right, yeah, electricity. Wait, I could just zap it, can't I?
Worth and Roth!
Wait. Oh, it opened this chest, did it? Wait, that's like nothing. Is that all this was? I get that it opened that door, but that's like... It opening that door is not a useful thing when we can just go through the wall. I guess it's if you don't have a grenade to explode the wall. But surely everyone... Like, I have 26 grenades. Surely everyone would have grenades by this point. That feels kind of weird to me. There was just a shit chest and a door to a place we could already go. But sure. Oh fuck. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Not the spiders. I'm seeing 1 book over there. I'm seeing 2 book over there. I'm seeing 3 book over there. I'm seeing 4 book over there. I'm seeing 5 book over there. I'm seeing 6 book over there. I'm seeing 7 book over there. Why do they keep doing this, man? Your lore is interesting, but you are just continually dumping it in these massive fucking, like, rooms with just like, hey, here's every book on the planet all at once. We could split them up and have one every, like, half hour or something, but no, we'll make you go a few hours with nothing and then drop 7 entire books on you at the same time. How do you feel about that? The answer is not great. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. The answer is not great. It is just too much to drop all at once. But they keep doing it. They keep doing it. And I want to read it, but Okay, at least maybe they're not all going to be long. Maybe they're not all going to be 20 fucking paragraphs long. Waterlogged book. The writing in this tome is dense and spidery, and it advances across the page at a sprint, as if the author's pen had been enchanted with a spell for celerity. Whatever muse ensorcelled it will never be revealed. However, for the book's fragile pages swiftly disintegrate in your hands. What a shame. A History of the Living Lands 3, Glossolalia. Oh boy. In the ruins of Ukaizo, the great city of the ancient Huana in the Deadfire, I once found a curious inscription. The inscription was written in 3 languages and arranged in a circle around a small pool of water. 2 of the languages were unknown to me. The first of these scripts was largely runic, rounded, and orderly, and looked like it was meant to be painted rather than chiseled into stone. It put me to mind of the architecture of Engwith, with its frequent arches and odd conjunctions of angles. The other language branched off one long stem. This one was curious. At first I thought I was meant to read it left to right, but the characters' shapes didn't have a flow that felt intentional. It wasn't until I tilted my head that I understood I was attempting to read it on its side. That I was instead meant to read it from top to bottom and likely right to left. Fascinating. I have seen nothing like it in all Eora. The third of the scripts I recognised, it was near ancient Huana, a language I'd studied idly in my youth. I'd been obsessed with its more logographic predecessor, far ancient Huana, for many years. What a pleasure at last to see something I knew. After a few hours of meditation, I recall enough of the alphabet to take a stab at the transcription. Ka, Wingoro... Okay, this is... I don't need to read that bit. The King of Ukaizo, the King of Kings, it has the cadence of a dedication. Could this last inscription be the key to deciphering the other 2 unknown languages? True stories from the Living Lands. Only the heartiest of explorers would dare take the long, dangerous trek to the Living Lands. While there is no denying its beauty, the diversity of plant life alone is a herbologist's dream, the inherent risk in blithely trekking through these pristine hills is more than most should undertake. Let me take a moment to tell you about the land itself. Rolling hills, greenery, and sun. The whole area feels like a succession of hills and valleys, each with its own ecosystem. While that declaration is a tad extreme, it can almost be said to be true. The combination of sun, geographical location, proximity to fresh water, valley depth, and the existence of hot springs have given the Living Lands a wide breadth of flora and fauna. Walk down a hillside into a valley, and you will find lush verdant hills. Well, yeah, if you've just walked into a valley, then you will be surrounded by hills, because you are in a valley. Climb the next rise, and you might see nothing but rock and boiling mineral springs. And the creatures. In my travels, I've seen it all, and this place never ceases to amaze me. Trolls. I will never forget my encounter with the trolls of the Living Lands. I had just narrowly avoided being consumed by a giant plant, more on that later, and was running as fast as I could to get away from it. I broke the crest of the hill, and the valley below was wide, green, wet, and covered with low, thick-branched trees. Vines grew everywhere. Between the trees, across the tops of them, down to the ground, it was a mess of vine and green. Cautiously, I worked my way down towards the basin, keeping an eye out for anything suspicious, and it's a good thing I did so. I noticed not all the trees appeared to be trees. I froze, dropping to the ground in an effort to minimize my appearance. One of the trees moved, lumbering slowly away from the cluster. It's then that I realized it was a troll stepping out from among the group of trees it had been resting against. With a few more steps, I would have walked right into their home. The camouflage these trolls exhibited far exceeded any I'd ever seen before. I hope to return again in the future and observe them more. Insects. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I just don't really care about insects and plants. This isn't like lore about the world, this is just like, wow, I can't believe this plant tried to eat me. I don't think that's worth reading. I'm here for lore, I'm not here for like, oh my god. Jesus Christ, okay, I take it back. The first one baited me by being a short paragraph, and then all of them after that is the longest of things. One day, Eothas was sitting on a wall watching a cat play in the sun. A crystal hung in a nearby tree had fragmented a sunbeam and scattered small motes of light on the ground. They danced around the cat, sliding over him as he frantically batted at them. He spun in place, following one as it rushed past him, and leaped on it, trying to pin it down. Eothas smiled, amused at the animal's tenacity. The cat landed on a spot, placing his paws over it only to watch it flit away again. Eothas watched the cat's tail twitch and slap at the ground, annoyed that his prey could not be pinned. "Why must you tease him?" a voice said from behind him, accompanied by the crunch of sandals on gravel. "I merely bring the dawn," Eothas responded. "I don't stoke the hunter's heart. That's your responsibility, isn't it?" "True," said a second voice, "but neither do you quell it. If the hunter could not see his prey, would he still hunt?" So philosophical, Hylia, Eothas said, and turned to greet the two gods that approached him. Have you come to debate the parallel between sight and desire? He gestured to the wall, inviting Hylia and Galawain to join him. They sat in silence, watching the cat, who continued to hunt the sun, fruitlessly swatting at another mote, and then rolling onto his back. I've created the ultimate prey, Eothas said finally, breaking the silence. It can be tracked, it can be followed, it can be seen, but it can never be caught. Galawain laughed lightly. You don't agree, Galawain? Eothas asked. While it's true that your creation is elusive, it can hardly be considered the ultimate prey because it can never be caught. He paused, his brow furrowed in thought. If that mote of light had substance, the hunter could subdue it. Otherwise, it's merely a dream, truly a fruitless endeavour. All creatures spend their lives chasing fruitless endeavours, said Hylia. It is the way of mortality. Galawain laughed again. I could create a creature, a living creature of flesh and blood that could never be caught. I make your dream a reality. Now it was Eothas' turn to laugh. You propose turning a fruitless dream into a fruitless reality? How is this any better? A life spent in the pursuit of an attainable goal far exceeds any other. But you just said no one could catch this creature. That is not attainable. Galawain smiled. Humanity has surprised us before. Indeed, it could surprise us again. I will create a great white stag, and I will set it free in the world. It will have grace, resilience, and tenacity. It will exist solely to be pursued for all its days, and it will never be caught. It will serve to inspire the hunt for generations to come. All those who wish for glory will invoke my name. All those who hear its story will ask for my blessing in finding it. Hylia shook her head and threw Galawain a bemused look. I do not believe this is possible, so I too make an offer. To the person who catches this stag, and they will catch the stag, I will bestow upon them its grace, resilience, and tenacity. Thrice blessed they will be. They will ask for my blessing on the hunt so they can obtain my boon. Galawain and Hylia took up arguing whose name would be invoked more when the hunt was on. Eothas sighed, a small smile playing at the edges of his mouth. He stood and looked to the sky. The sun had already started to hide itself behind the mountains. The cat, long ago tired of the stalking and motes, had fallen asleep beneath the tree. He turned and looked at the other gods, deep in debate, and sighed again. I merely bring the dawn, he repeated, as he made his way down the path. It is up to you to see what I reveal. See, that was an interesting one. The actual gods having a yap. Nothing is lost. The search for Ukaizo. The Ranger's men came to collect my portion of prize share this morning, and I had nothing to give them again. I make no money for the tribe, though I am always in my little ferry boat, grey gull carving through the waves. At night, I get no sleep. Waitaro asks me to conserve the lamp oil to come to bed, but I can't, not until I find it. I know it's out there, the lost city of Ukaizo. On every chart and map of the Deadfire I've found, whether Huana, Valian, or Rautayan, there is a gap, an empty space where so much of our history should be. Did it burn to ash and cinders in the cataclysm? Did it sink below the waves? Does Ngati clutch it to her breast at the bottom of the sea? Perhaps it's lost and wandering like me. Unmoored, looking for a home it can't remember, but for which some insistent longing burns in its chest. An ember always smouldering, a little fire to push it on. Waitaro wants me to give it up. But how can I? On mornings when the sky is so clear, I can hardly catch my breath for the beauty of it. I think I see it out there, shimmering in the brightening blue light. Is it a taunt or a beckoning? Would I be able to tell the difference? I ask the fisher folk when they return with their catch at sunset. Tiber, I say, did you see anything? Or you, Mabori? How about you, Pyra? They avoid me now. Waitaro says they're busy, but I know they think I'm tide-sick and sun-addled. The way Pyria's lip curls in disgust when I approach, the way Tiber's eyes seem to see right through me, I know. They won't have to suffer me much longer, because tomorrow I'm taking Grey Gull and sailing north. Someone has to chase the old tales, so I will. This one, Annals of Pargranen. It was in the time of Edrahil the Sure-Footed that we came to something Villag, an ancient place of the builders, as the locals call them. It was a marvellous sight. A door in the mountain framed by a pair of ghoulish aspects. Through some exercise of trickery or cunning, Edrahil was able to gain access for our scholars that we might observe and record what lay inside. We discovered a foundry of sorts, the like of which neither we nor our distant brethren had seen. Through careful observation, we surmised that the ancients had used this place to extract souls, and transfer them to suits of armour, delicate and challenging work, yet the scale they had achieved left us humbled and astounded. Perhaps more remarkable were the golems, living suits of armour powered by essence. We lost 2 of our fellows when the creatures caught us unawares, but once we subdued them, they proved quite fascinating. All too aware that our hosts would never again allow us, nor other curious travellers, to visit this place, we took meticulous notes and measurements of all we saw, forsaking bread and sleep until the work was done. We reported all to Edrihil, whereupon he praised our work and urged us quickly forward. For if such a place lay abandoned in the forest, who can say what other mysteries gods and kith have left in this strange and wild land? Sorry, I keep having to stifle yawns as I'm reading, and it's not because I'm not finding it interesting, it's just because I'm tired. And reading a whole chunk of text exacerbates the tired feeling, but it is mostly interesting stuff. On the fire-forged path, the travels of Yarrick Latan, however you pronounce that. Spine is cracked. Falls open to a folio more ragged and dog-eared than the others. Though I was born and raised a Magronite, and a Magronite now I will stay, as a young man I undertook a pilgrimage to visit a holy house dedicated to every god, and in so doing I hoped to know them each the better, to take what they had to teach and sow it into my soul like so many seeds, that my soul might grow and bear only the most delectable fruit for my goddess to devour at the moment of my death. So it is with no small amount of amusement that I pen this account of my visit once to a church of Whale, the many-eyed, many-tongued god of dreams and secrets, revelations and mysteries, and reveal to you all I learned there. The challenge came first in finding adherents to Whale's doctrine, for they are not often ones to announce their presence, preferring instead to build their flock for the solitary seekers who delve through ancient ruins and ruined archives in search of the strange, the bizarre, the forgotten. But persistence is my goddess's first teaching, and find them I did. The Whalites' Nekitakan congregation was small then, as it likely remains now, and on the morning I stumbled upon them, they were lounging like so many cats in the sun on the steps above Queen's Berth, sharing between them a bottle of arak and pipes packed with white leaf and ripple sponge. I knew them for Whalites, not for any badge or robe or trinket they wore, not for their race or age, but for the ardour of their debate on the most benign of topics. I begged that they take me to their church and permit me to worship with them, and they laughed as one, their many voices like the howling of wild dogs. They acquiesced when I told them of my quest, and then invited me to sit and share their drink. I did, and as the arak burned a trail of fire down my throat, they showed me the dimensions of their hall of worship. The stairs were their pews, they said, the blue sky their ceiling, and their walls the edges of the world. All of creation sits within its bounds. As morning neared midday, they stood as one and began to climb the mountain. Where do you go now? I asked. To worship, they replied. A great wave of relief washed over me, for at last I would have my lesson from them. We climbed the many steps of Nekitaka, and arrived at last in the sacred stair. Where is your temple? I asked, and in response they whooped like children, rushing past me in a squall of smoke and laughter. I followed as best as I could, though I wet my good slippers in the stream, and could hardly keep my foot on the moss-slick stones, and we surged soggy-footed and hollering into the temple of Guan. To worship, they cried. We shoved past dawn stars bent in praise of their macabre god, laughing all the while, and came to stand before a leafless tree whose boughs were hung in lanterns too numerous to count. I had nary a moment to catch my breath before the Whalites were clambering into the great tree's branches. A young man pulled me up with one hand and handed me a pipe with the other. The priests of Gorn, screeched and wailed, and all the while we squawked like birds, our smiles wide, and eyes alight with arak and lantern fire. The Mataru came soon after to chase us away, but not before we'd done our share of singing to the many-eyed, many-tongued god of dreams. Would that I could have stayed with them a while longer, but alas, I could not deny my soul its journey, nor the whispers of my goddess in my ear. I took again to the road in search of churches, but I must admit, ever after, I longed always for that tree. Is this the last one? The Collected Annals of Lengrath. Whoever copied this work appears to have been in great hurry, as if they feared being caught. The gods strip us of who we are on every turn about the wheel, mercilessly shaving off all we've learned with their divine lathes. We retain the pale shadows of our souls, but knowledge, memory, self, all of it is cut away. Do the gods fear we might someday rival their strength if they do not? The trees of Air Glanfath possess souls as strong as any kith, and their entangled roots extend for miles. But dig beneath any of them, follow those roots, and you'll see they don't end, but lead to a neighbour. They're many souls, sharing one body. Why shouldn't willing kith be able to do the same? A limb may be grafted from one tree to the trunk of another, and in time they'll bear sweeter fruit together than either might have alone. Mightn't it be possible, then, to graft a scion soul to the rootstock of a willing kith. The souls won't fracture, but coalesce. Would they though? They'd grow stronger together. I feel like trees and people's souls are not directly comparable. The gods see fractured souls, but they don't care for them. Damaged, broken people are abandoned by their makers to twist in the wind, given no succor, no relief. Would an intentionally fractured soul be similarly inconsequential to them? I will use their apathy against them. I will make their disdain serve me. A grafted soul is obscured from the sight of the gods. It spreads freely like a blood fever, but doesn't kill its host. No, I will be a fever of the spirit, invisible, unstoppable, eternal. Okay. Having a normal one there, lad. Are we good? Was that everything? I think that was everything. Fuck! The life and discoveries of Pangram. Ah, man, why do they do this? Like, genuinely. I really don't get it. It's frustrating, because I want to read them all. And I want to enjoy reading them all, but when they dump so many of them on you at once, it does just feel like too much. I'm just like, have you ever heard of spacing out your lore? Like, there's no reason to drop, like, this is what, like the 8th book in here? There's no reason to drop 8 on you at once. It's like, why? Why do they do this? Mention the name Pangram to anyone with even a passing knowledge of animancy, and you could find yourself in for a very long discussion. Publicly reviled, but privately lauded as a hero and genius, Pangram's history is at turns revolutionary, horrific, and mysterious. Pangram was fascinated, some might say obsessed, with the concept of animancy. It consumed his life as he dedicated everything to understand it. He would frequently travel to Eothas and the Deerwood to visit the Engwithan ruins. There he would take notes and make sketches, bringing anything back with him that he could to help him unlock the mysteries. After years of study, Pangram had reached the point where he could no longer conduct research on his own, and he took an assistant, Helig of Thane. Soon Helig was making trips to Eothas in Pangram's stead, gathering knowledge while Pangram stayed behind to experiment. This partnership quickly bore fruit, and Pangram made a breakthrough, one that would irrevocably change his life and the general attitude about animancy forever. While the specifics of his experimentation will never truly be known, the rumours and stories that still circulate tell that he had sent out inquiries, asking for live subjects for help with a dangerous experiment that might change their life or might end it. Those who were already dying were especially encouraged to apply. The response was overwhelming, and Pangram had his pick of numerous willing bodies. That is when he had his breakthrough. He discovered a way to fix a soul, anchoring it to its body so that it couldn't leave at death. He had discovered eternal life. His research and life's work had resulted in the greatest single discovery that animancy could hope for. His findings were published and quickly spread throughout Valia and beyond. While some groups, the Wodekin Church for example, decried his work as nothing more than blasphemy and heresy, many put it to practice. Everyone wanted the chance at immortality. But everything comes with a cost. It quickly became apparent that simply restraining the soul, while keeping the person technically alive, was doing nothing for the body, which continued to decay, devolving and warping the soul now trapped inside it. The creatures it created were dangerous, carnivorous beasts that killed brutally and indiscriminately. The backlash was ruthless. The practice of Pangram's discoveries was outlawed. His works were collected and burned. He and Helig were branded heretics and hunted, chased from town to town, until Pangram simply vanished. Helig was tracked down, captured, and brought to trial for the atrocities committed against Valia and its people. The trial was barely more than a formality to bring charges against him, as everyone knew what hand he had played in the disaster. He was sent to prison for years, but eventually released once public outrage had died down. Not long after his parole, he disappeared as well. Occasionally, talk surfaces that a copy of Pangram's theorems have been found, untouched by the purging flames that destroyed its brothers. These rumours seldom end up being more than that. Many groups and wealthy individuals have formed, sending out a call to anyone who will listen. Find us a copy of the theorems. They offer gold, jewels, status, anything they can to entice adventurers to help them achieve their goals. For there are those who would give anything a chance. For there are those who would give anything a chance at immortality. That doesn't make sense. It should say, for there are those who would give anything for a chance at immortality. There we go. They're missing a 4. Even become a monster. That was probably the most interesting one of them all. Statue schematic. This drawing details plans for the creation of a large statue powered by essence. The essence is intended to be injected into the statue by a array of animatic devices. Where such a vast store of essence might come from, and what a statue could do with it, is unclear. Well, it's probably not just a statue, right? It's a body that is going to move around. Eothasian Prayer. And the sun shall break through the darkness, the new dawn arriving with the rebirth of the day. Rejoice, all ye who dwelleth in the shadow, who are broken and beaten. The winter soon comes to an end. Spring shall rise, bringing light and life to the world. Radiant light, radiant life. And thy soul shall find warmth in his arms. All creatures bask in his glory. The rays of his countenance bathe the world, bringing an end to the night, ushering in the day. Kneel before him and wonder at his benevolence. Feel the warmth of his radiant presence. If thou art broken, he shall make thee whole. If thou art in darkness, he shall bring thee to light. If thou art sinful, thou shalt be reborn. If thou art cold, his warmth shall bolster thee. How canst I, so lowly and worn, speak words of proper adulation? Thine eyes, whose gaze sees the sin in me yet, still shows love. Thine hands, whose grip pulls me out of the darkness. Thine ears, listening to my every prayer. Thine heart, bright as the dawn, giving me warmth when I am raw. Eothas, light of spring, sun of the world, thou givest me life and purpose. If thine heart be black, if thine intention be impure, thy life is forfeit. For he hath seen, he can see, he will see. Nothing is hidden from his glory. His light touches every corner of the world. Nothing is hidden from his sight. If thou doest thy work in the dark, if thou wouldst keep thine actions hidden, thou shalt be burned in the sun of the new dawn. Day comes soon, prepare for the dawn. Nothing is hidden from his reach. And would you look at that, it's another book. The Deerwood Part 5, The Proliferation of Animancy. Oh, it's a long one. That's book number 10, right? Book number 10 in about the space of 5 steps. That's good. Animancy, outlawed while under Adir rule, was technically no longer taboo after Hadret's rebellion. Academics began its study again in earnest in 2681 AI. By 2697 AI, there were almost 40 academics actively researching the field, both in the Deerwood and the Valian Republics, even though no significant results had been discovered. A tragic breakthrough of sorts happened in 2704. An animancer working in Bale Reach accidentally shattered the souls of about a dozen volunteers who'd been helping him. Good stuff. In retaliation for the deaths, the citizens of the area stormed his house and killed him. Great stuff. The Earl of the region, not wanting to waste resources or anger the locals any more than they already were, did nothing to find the head of the vigilante mob, but neither did he outlaw animancy. To ensure their own safety, most animancers moved from the rural areas where they were studying and settled in Defiance Bay, many of them choosing the emerging and wealthy district of Brackenberry, rather. I was slightly too far scrolled down, it looked like it was Brackenberg, as their new home of operations. While there were still a few breakthroughs and the study of While there were still... While there were still a few breakthroughs and the study of animancy continued for the next 24 years, it quickly slowed as it became cost prohibitive and complicated the more people learned about it. Most animancers couldn't afford to continue research without the support of donations or gifts from wealthy individuals and organizations. In 2737... So how long after that is... Right, so yeah, okay. It has been a long time. In 2737, some animancers, desperate to continue their studies and seeing no other means of furthering their research, entered the forbidden ruins of Air Glanfath to further their research. That's a bad... Sorry, I'm just taken out of it when I read a bad sentence, and it's like, there's no other means of furthering their research, so we'll do this to further our research. It's like, it's just, you don't need to say the same thing twice. Like, yeah, they saw no other means, so they went into the ruins. Obviously, that's to further their research, because that's the thing that there's no other means to do. They discovered some such sites had strange artifacts that seemed to bear affinity to soul essence, and began to prod at the devices for further insight. Even with continued research, they are unable to tell quite what they have discovered. Eventually, they were found out by the Glanfathans, who captured some of them, demanding they be punished for their crimes. The Deerwooden authorities, in order to maintain their treaties and keep the peace, had no choice. They allowed the animancers to be executed according to Glanfathan tradition. This led the Duke to make an additional proclamation: the study and practice of animancy on or even near the sacred Glanfathan sites would be punishable by death. In 2780, so we are now like over 100 years. Well over 100 years, 120 odd years. Wait, no. 2780. No. So 100 years after its study began in earnest again. In order to solidify relations again with the Glanfathans, the Deerwooden government allowed some animancers to begin training and experiments in conjunction with the Glanfather mine hunters, their native ciphers. This was an exchange of information. The animancers documented the secrets of the mind hunters' powers. The mind hunters learned new techniques for concentration, which assisted them in taking their powers to a level no Glanfathan had seen before. The ciphers, no longer wary of the animancers' intentions, trusted them to such a level that they convinced the Glanfathans to give some animancers limited access to some of the training sites where the Glanfathans practiced. The Anamfaths of the Glanfathan tribes opened the training grounds to the animancers. They were not allowed inside, as this was still strictly forbidden, but the general allowances by the Glanfathans were seen as a breakthrough in relations between the Deerwood and Air Glanfath. Over the next 8 years, the animancers' research would continue unimpeded. With the exception of some minor squabbles, there has been no major strife between the two groups for the almost 120 years since. Woo, okay. I think we're good. I think that's everything. Please be everything. I need a nap. I don't know why reading a ton of words on a page in a row like that just tires me out. But it does. I feel exhausted. I can play games 12 hours at weekends, like just full on, wake up, get on, play all day, and it's fine. I read some pages, I'm exhausted. Yeet. Okay, that was not a yeet. For some reason I thought that was going to be deep. Not another one. Oh my god, man. Purification of the Pilgrim. Fuck me. I had hoped that in coming to this place, standing before the Splinter, and turning my mind to prayer, that I would feel something. That I would experience the solace the other godlike speak of, this state that they call grace. But my dreams remain as silent as this eerie godless tomb, and I am ashamed to feel so lonesome and bereft. To truly love the gods is to be faithful to the void. That is what the oracle tells me. If I look just combining lines here. If I look outside of myself, to the here and now, for that which I desire, then I will always remain unsatisfied, that should say, I think. I must go down into myself, into the still wide emptiness, to discover that I already have everything I need. The many voices of wail I wish would whisper in my ear, even had I heard them, they would not be evidence of their love. That evidence persists already in my soul, in the void to which I have not been true, and it has from the moment they plucked my soul from the wheel, and gave it unto my body to be born. It is the chime. The chime is the evidence of their love, and if it is all that I ever have of them, then I should fall to my knees in gratitude, for it is more than most kith will get. But to know this solace that I seek, then I must give up any desire for their love, and learn to love the void. Oh, hello.
Everyone okay?
Yeah, man, doing just
I hate to think
peak.
it reaches all the way down here.
Thorns beside violence, essence twisted out of shape.
So true, Queen. What am I hearing? I'm hearing a shiny. Wait. Where? Oh, right here. Sounded like it was coming from in here for a minute. It's like, what? Right. Guess we're going up there. Oh, right, no map in here. That's where I came down from, yeah. No way of getting in there, I don't think.
Repose, a pulse beating out of time. Should it be disturbed?
Consecration prayer. Oh my god! It's a short one! There's no scroll bar. With his leaving of his precious body, we commemorate our most glorious god with all his saints. Let us commend ourselves and one another and our whole life to Eothas, the Dawn Treader. For this holy house and for those who enter it with faith, reverence, and fear of our god, we consecrate this temple in his name. Eothas, have mercy on our souls.
If it weren't for the creepy oracle and the invading roots, this place would be kind of nice.
I just noticed the circular bit here and I was like, is this about to be a boss? Is a boss about to drop down in front of us or something? No, maybe not. It gave sudden boss vibes for a moment. Hello.
Eothas and Roth!
Nice. How much do I say?
What did that do for me? Did it open a door? I guess it opened that door, probably. I didn't even realize. Huh, there's also this one.
Eothas and Roth!
See if that opens.
Ah, I see. Clap. Unique wand, unique wand, unique wand, unique wand. Never, ever will I get a unique wand. Never, ever.
There's the relic. Can't be as easy as just grab it.
Right.
Something tells
I haven't
me
been in a
no.
lot of ancient ruins, but you don't have to be an expert tomb robber to think this is probably a trap.
Yeah. There's no way we can get to that. So, Splinter of Eothas.
A false idol. It waits.
Something's moving in the main chamber.
We'd better get moving too.
Speak to Offred. Oh, hello. Ooh, Godless Executioner, eh? Hello. Nice health bar, mate. Doing the most.
Ready for more. That ought to be all of them, right?
Okay. That was quite a few. How do we get this door open? The door is barred. didn't miss anything. There's no angle I can get there. Ah, hang on.
No one said anything about spaces.
Hang about. Oh, hi. Got him. It's nothing interesting. Yay. I just hear, I swear I heard like a fucking groan or something. That was weird. Okay, so speak to Offric. Who's Offric? Our quest giver, I assume? And then optional, continue searching for the Eoran expedition. But isn't this a dead end? Isn't this as far as we can go and there wasn't another way? And optional, return to the Oracle because his fucking big old statue has started moving. Yoink. Was there anything under here? Oh, right, yeah, that was that. Okay, well, let's start heading back then.